That damn Meredith Marks is gonna give us one of them dramatic scenes every season that has me cracking up. Like, I can't wait to get to the end of this episode. But if y'all are new here, hit subscribe. Do that real quick. It's free of charge. Help me out. We're on the road to 15K. Also, thumbs up the video, get in the comments, share the video, subscribe if you're new, like I just said. Hype the video in the comments if you are on the YouTube app. But let's get into this because I want to talk about it. All right, so we get back and we see Bronwyn slept outside. She slept outside on the deck the night before because we're going to later find out Brittany didn't want her in that room. I don't blame her. But Whitney and Heather, they're waking up and Heather's sitting there acting like, I don't know what happened. Like, I'm so drunk, I didn't know what happened last night. So she states that she and Lisa, she says that Lisa is like her and Whitney's good friend. And she just doesn't want her looking at their friendship as a scorecard. And if she's really a good friend, then be one. I said, you're not. You the last person to be talking about somebody being a good friend. You're not a good friend. Like, you sat there and gaslit that woman into making her think that all of what you did and all of what you did that led to what she was doing was for no reason. Like, you tried to make it seem like she was crashing out for no reason when you the one that literally started the shit that made her get to that point. But Heather then tells Whitney about how when she went to talk to her on that pad, as y'all know, at the end of last week, Lisa was on that pad crying to John. She had went out there and she said that Lisa insisted that she didn't do it. So again, and like I told y'all, some of y'all told me that y'all, it was split in my comments. Some of y'all agree with me. Some of y'all didn't. Some of y'all felt like Lisa did it. I still, a week later, feel like Lisa didn't do it. But she insisted that she didn't do it. They showed a flashback of Heather sitting there continuing to accuse her of doing something and wanting her to admit to something that Lisa's stating that she didn't do it. And she's still maintaining it. She was crying and everything. But Heather's in her confessional saying that all that Lisa has to do was admit it. If she didn't do it, why would she admit to it? Like, you have no proof. And that was my point last week. There is no proof to it. Y'all are just assuming because Lisa has information, yet all of y'all always have information. Monica, which I found funny too, how Heather just wants her just to admit it because if she is the source, just admit it. But y'all had such an issue with Monica. It makes no sense. And then Monica clocked the shit on Carlos King's recap. Heather's the one that's doing it. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. The way I see it, Heather is not exempt from this. She always wants somebody else to cop to some shit that is being said and want people to tell the truth. Yeah, she's a liar. She's a proven liar. Like when Jen Shaw punched her in her face and gave her that black eye, she spent the whole year lying about it. Just for her to later bring it up that she got punched in the face by Jen. Like, Heather, she's the last person to be talking about somebody telling the truth. Let's keep it real. But Heather states in her confessionals, she could have just said sorry about the things that she done in the past, but Lisa refused to be honest and it changed their dynamic. I said, please, you're a liar. But Heather claims that she wants to give them space to recover and then assess the damage that is done to their friendship that you caused. You caused it. But Lisa, she's in bed with Meredith now, waking up. And she's telling her how she learned so much the night before about how people pretty much are like trying to force her to admit to something, claiming that they're her friend when she didn't do it. But Lisa's in her confessional stating that she's hoping that everybody wakes up feeling shitty about how they were to her the night before and admit that they just did it and they can move on. But she's sitting there stating that the fact that nobody can state Lisa wouldn't do that, why would y'all say that? That's fucked up to me. Meredith's getting pissed off. Like, what did you think I said? Like, I didn't use your words verbatim the way that you want me to, but I gave the same message. Meredith, I feel like Meredith is getting a bad rap for it. In that scene with Whitney and Heather, when they brought her in there trying to pretty much get her to agree with them, she stated like 50-50. She's like, I don't think she did it, but if she did, da-da-da-da. But that's pretty much what it was. But Lisa was like, I mean, it's just a different level of support. Meredith is getting pissed off because she's like, I'm the only one that's actually trying to defend you at this point. And what you're stating is hurting me. Meredith is not lying. Meredith is the only person so far that is genuinely trying to have Lisa's back in this. She didn't get back up to Bronwyn, and she's in her confessionals telling us that she slept on the deck because things aren't good between her and Brittany. Whose fault is that? You went and told some shit unprovoked that was a private conversation between the two of y'all. Like, you did that. But she says that Brittany is mad at her for telling everybody what she had said, and Bronwyn says she's mad at her for running her mouth. I said, shut up, Bronwyn. Shut up. Bronwyn is not likable. I don't care what y'all say. Even though when it comes to her mom situation, I'm 100% like on her side in defense because her mother ain't shit. But Bronwyn's a weirdo. Like, She's a weirdo. But everybody's heading up to the top of the deck at this point. And it's, who is it? It was Lisa. Well, not Lisa yet. At this point, it was Heather. I think it was Angie. No, it wasn't Anthony. Angie. Heather, Whitney, Brittany, and I think it was Angie. I didn't write down everybody, but they were up there. Lisa then joins them. And it's awkward silence. And then Angie, Heather, and Whitney all trickle off, leaving just Brittany and Lisa sitting there. So Brittany asks, "Are we good?" And Lisa's like, "I mean, if we weren't, I would tell you." But Brittany then asks how Lisa is with Heather. "Are you still mad at her?" And she was like, "I mean, I love Heather, but last night was not okay." Brittany says, Brittany then starts talking about her and Bronwyn though. Like, we were in a good spot, but then that shit that happened. And Bronwyn is literally hearing what they're stating. Like, she's overhearing everything. And Brittany says, "Bronwyn was trying to be nice to me to get me to talk and then use that shit against me." That's literally what happened. That is literally what happened. But Lisa says, "Yeah, she's done it to you before," which she has. So wake up. And Lisa was like, "Yeah, you're responsible for you." Basically, like, you know who you dealing with, which is why I state what I state when it comes to Lisa. These people don't like Lisa's antics, yet they always want to be best friends with Lisa. All of them, apart from Mary and Meredith to a degree, no matter how much they're going at it with Lisa right now, they all want to be Lisa's friend. And that's the problem. Y'all want to get mad at Lisa for being Lisa, yet y'all still want to turn around and be friends with Lisa and then expect Lisa to be in the wrong. No. Like, if somebody does you wrong and you continue to go back to that, you're the problem. Now, she's not the problem. Lisa is consistent. Like, one thing about it, Lisa is gonna be Lisa at the end of the day, and she doesn't change the way she is. Even her wrongs and rights, Lisa is still Lisa. So Lisa is what she get. You know what you're getting from her. So whenever they keep going back expecting something different, why would I be upset with Lisa? Like, that's y'all's fault. But Lisa says that she's never done anything to Bronwyn. That's a lie. She says, "Bronwyn lied about me when it came to the grandparents and let everybody think last year that I hurt her daughter when she's the one that came and asked me to do it." Talking about reaching out to the grandparents, which they showed the text and it proved exactly what Lisa was stating. So Angie and Mary, they come up there to Bronwyn, and Bronwyn is telling them, like, "Hold on, let's go down here because I heard Lisa and Brittany, they over there talking shit about me, and I heard it." So they decide to go to another area so Lisa and Brittany can't hear them, even though they're not really caring at this point. But Angie ends up asking Bronwyn why she slept outside. She pretty much states same shit with Brittany. "I reached out to her at the shop. We went in there and talked. She was talking shit about Meredith. And then Brittany got mad that I brought the shit up and throwing her under the bus. And she didn't want me sleeping in the room. So there was nowhere else for me to go at this point. So I slept outside." So Bronwyn then tells them about Brittany and Lisa talking shit. And is it talking shit though? Because what was being stated was the truth. So is it really talking shit or is it talking the real? But Meredith, Whitney, and Heather, they end up coming out as well. Brittany and Lisa, they come in shortly after. So now everybody's sitting there at the table and it's silent. But Heather then lets them know that they're going to go snorkeling today and later on they're going to have a zombie dinner. So they then start talking about how good of a friend Mary was to Angie, pretty much aiding to her the night before. As we all know, Angie was sick. So Bronwyn then states, like, "I mean, if you want to be nice to Angie, you can be nice to me too. Can I sleep in the room with y'all? Mary is me." She said no. 2 is company, 3's a crowd. Like, hell no. It's too many people, especially when y'all on a yacht. Granted, the yacht is big, but 3 people in one bed, absolutely not. Like, please, 3 grown people. But Brittany says, "You can sleep with me. I'm not going to hurt you." Bronwyn says, "I'm not interested in sleeping in the bed when you brought somebody like one of the crew in there." And Brittany's like, "What did you say?" And Bronwyn said, "Last time I saw you, you was trying to get one of the crew to come in there with you." And Brittany's sitting there denying it, but the flashback shows Brittany flirting with Captain Jason, essentially talking about, "Let's get out of here," which obviously that would mean either back to her room or I guess to his. But Meredith chimes in and Brittany's like, "Why are you even talking to me?" Meredith says, "I don't know, because that's a bad idea." But Brittany then says that Jason was essentially in their room to fix the AC. They show a flashback. It is true, but I wouldn't put it past Brittany trying to shoot passes at him to try and get him to stay. But Lisa chimes in and states, like, it's enough with the pile-on when it comes to Brittany. Jason is not interested. The worker comes walking over there to fill up Lisa's drink, and she's asking her to co-sign on Jason not being interested. And she starts laughing. But Lisa says she feels bad for Jason because at this point, I wouldn't want my name being brought up in a conversation that I'm not a part of. Don't do this to people. You know what she's doing. She's shading them. So, of course, Bronwyn jumps in. "Oh, come on. I can't even sit on the deck without hearing you and Brittany talking shit, talking about I'm a snake and I've done this to Brittany before. Did they lie? You are a snake. You are a snake. Not only that, you have done it to Brittany before, so is it talking shit, like I stated? But Lisa says, I mean, you have, and she has. Like, let's keep it real. But Bronwyn then says, stop bringing up my fucking daughter and her grandparents again, which Lisa did do that. Lisa did state to Bronwyn, y'all remember the episodes, when she stated she wasn't going to do it again, and she did it again. But Mary's confessional had me laughing. But Lisa is telling her to quit yelling at her because Bronwyn is screaming at this point, and she going off, telling her to not bring up her child's grandparents again because they had that agreement, which they did. But Lisa owns up to stating it to Brittany. And Bronwyn is screaming, stop talking about my fucking child. And Lisa's like, I'm not talking about your child. Bronwyn gets up, and she's still screaming like she hot. But Lisa says, sit down. This is deflection, which it is. Because we went from you talking shit and telling the business that, well, you weren't talking shit. Brittany was talking shit. But you literally brought information that Brittany came to you in confidence with and then exposed the shit, yet you didn't want to turn it back to Lisa. But Lisa says, I mean, I try to do the right thing. Sometimes you do, but most times you don't. But Angie says, bullshit. You dig up dirt on people, talk behind their back, and then try to be friends. To a certain degree, it is true. But she then states, even 2 weeks ago, you were talking about Bronwyn, about how Todd was making out with one of your friends and farting the whole time. That shit cracked me up. I said, I believe it. I believe it. I believe Lisa said it, and I believe Todd did it. I do. Even down to the farting. I believe it. But Lisa's sitting there denying it. Angie says, Lisa said it was one of my hot friends. And I believe that too, because that's definitely something Lisa would say. And Lisa was stuck. She couldn't even say nothing. So you know it was true. So Bronwyn says, are you fucking kidding me? The flashback of Angie pretty much telling us that it was after the clarity lunch. There was no clarity at that lunch from Lisa. And that's when it all happened. But Bronwyn then asked Lisa if she said it. And Lisa says it wasn't one of my friends, but clearly it was somebody. But Bronwyn then asked if she said that he made out with somebody. And Lisa says nothing because she did. She did. Bronwyn says, fuck you, you're dead to me. I said, and sing. Because you don't even believe that. You don't even believe that. She's not dead to you. We'll see in a couple months later. You're going to be begging for her attention again. And we're in the same revolving cycle. But Lisa's in her confessional stating that she knows a lot of people. Pretty much like I grew up in New York. I know a lot of people. It came from somebody that I trust. I believe it. And I repeated it to Angie. And now we know Angie is not a trustworthy bitch. So none of y'all are, though. Let's keep it real. The only person I feel like you can probably hold your secret is Mary. But then again, if you piss her off, she's probably going to bring it out. But Bronwyn is trying to force Lisa to admit that she was wrong talking about Tide. Which she is wrong to be talking about Tide. But is it... I feel like Bronwyn is worried about the wrong thing. She should be worried about we'll get to it. But Lisa says, I mean, Lisa was admitting that she was wrong. Bronwyn is now tweaking out. And I'm like, are you mad because it was said, or are you mad because it's true? Because it's obvious to me, because your husband don't like you. I mean, that's clear as day. So if he don't like you, he's definitely going to be getting it from somebody else. Like, let's keep it real. Like, I feel like there's truth behind it. Allegedly, but I believe it. But Mary then says that if somebody told me about my husband making out with somebody and farting, she said, I don't know what would be more devastating to me, because it's embarrassing, because both of it's embarrassing, because like, what's wrong with his intestines? Why is he farting? Y'all know Mary this season, Mary with the farting is hilarious. Every time she says the word fart, it cracks me up. But Lisa then tells Meredith to never tell Angie anything. And Angie says, no, don't talk shit about your friends then. But they start going back and forth. And Lisa and Angie, they both get up at this point. But Lisa then walks away. And Angie's like, she tells, stating that Angie is being a horrible friend. I was cracking up this whole scene. So we now see everybody getting ready to go snorkeling. So Bronwyn, when she's in her room thinking about Todd's words that he told her, like, you go on this trip, the same shit gonna happen with you and Lisa. Literally, it did. And Bron was like, I mean, Lisa got what she wanted. Like, she wanted to get under my skin. And she was like, I mean, I'm realizing that there's no way for me to be in a room with Lisa without being this person that I don't want to be. But what would make Lisa more mad is me actually having a great time. And I'm going to have the best time. Lisa, sorry to break it to you, Bron, Lisa don't think about you like you think about her. Does she do shit that does get you riled up? Yes. But I feel like you think more about Lisa than she thinks about you. Let's keep it real. Lisa only thinks about Bronwyn when she needs to retaliate. Like, let's keep it real. But they head on off to snorkel at Tobago Cays. I think that's what it's called. I'm probably butchering it. But the water was beautiful. 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 I love a nice island. But Angie and Bronwyn, they're in the water. And Angie's telling her, like, I feel bad for what just happened. I felt like I haven't been such a supportive friend to you, and I feel sorry about it. Bronwyn was like, I mean, I don't regret what I stated to Lisa. Like, I said what I said. And Angie was like, I mean, that's the only way for you to get her to stop talking about your family is by sticking to it and being firm about it like you were today. I doubt it. I doubt it. That's not going to faze Lisa. Like, you piss her off, she going to do what she got to do. But Bronwyn then states, Lisa's not sorry. She's over there getting a massage. And Lisa's like, oh, my God, the massage is so great. In her voice, y'all know. And Lisa's not sorry. So I'm like, why would you sit there and continue to try and force her to be sorry? That's my whole point. And y'all know that. So at that point, why are y'all still sitting here trying to get that energy? But Mary and Lisa, they're sitting down talking, and they're talking about Lisa's conversation that she had with Meredith earlier in the morning. So Lisa says, I mean, I told her how it bothered me how Meredith essentially didn't stick up for me. And Meredith's like, so what did she say after you said that? Lisa was like, I mean, Meredith says that she feels like she does it in her own way, which she does. She does. But Mary then asks, do you feel it? And Lisa's like, I mean, I do privately. And Meredith is walking over as they're having this conversation. And Mary's like, okay, so what's the point in it happening if it's only in private? And Lisa's like, yeah, I feel like, and she's looking back and Meredith's over there. Meredith, are you right here? And Meredith's like, yeah. So Lisa's like, I'll spin around it. So she spins around and looks at Meredith. And she was like, I mean, I was talking about what we were talking about this morning. So Meredith says, I mean, I think it's wild how everybody is so interested in how we engage. And Mary's like, I mean, it's not wild, it's bizarre. Mary then tells us that she feels like Meredith doesn't stick up for Lisa. And if that's your friend, you need to speak up. And Meredith's like, can you believe I'm sitting here taking up for Lisa Barlow? I was like, yeah, it is shocking. But Lisa then states in scene that she feels like she does a good job standing up for herself. But sometimes she be wanting to tap in somebody. And at that point, I be needing the backup. So Meredith then states, I do support you, but I'm tired of this narrative that y'all pushing that I don't really be supporting you. But one of the workers is now trying to bring them drinks as they're arguing. Lisa and Meredith are arguing. So they finally end up getting their spicy margaritas. And Lisa says, I mean, I don't know why you upset talking to Meredith. And Meredith says, everybody is sitting here stating that I don't support you when that's all I've done is support you. Mary says when Lisa is stating that she feels that you don't take up for her, that's supposed to be your friend. That's how she feels. You should see how she feels. You should respect how she feels. Meredith says, what do you want me to do? Start doing cartwheels? And Mary says, I don't care what you do. You ain't a good friend. Go jump in the ocean. I said, what? Mary cracks me up. Meredith then says, you go do something. And Mary tells her, I think you're boring. And then Meredith says, I mean, I do a lot of interesting things. And Mary says, go find a good story to tell because right now you're a snooze. I was like, what? But Meredith gets up and Heather and Bronwyn, they're suddenly best friends now. I wonder why, because they have a common enemy now. Like they're in cahoots. But they all start playing Never Have I Ever. Mary talks about how she's never peed and farted. Just how she said, just how I said it is how she said it. I've never farted in the ocean. But Heather's now asking if Mary's ever farted while making out with somebody. Catch that shade, Bronwyn. That's your friend now, huh? And Bronwyn's sitting over there talking about too soon. I wonder if she really gonna ask him for real. She talks about it later on, but we're gonna talk about it in a minute. But they start playing games. They're having fun now, but they head back to the yacht. Now everybody's getting ready for the zombie dinner, but Angie ends up injuring herself. I said, Angie, you can't win on this trip. Like, she was sick the day before, and then she ends up cutting her finger, blood gushing everywhere. But everybody's getting zombified at this point. They all head up for dinner, and it's called Horror Night. So, like, they're dressed up. The workers are dressed up. They have it all set up. So, it looks nice. Everybody looks crazy except for Mary and Lisa. Like, they look a little crazy, but they still look how Mary and Lisa would want to look. But the waiters, they're bringing them drinks and whatnot. But Mary stops one of the waiters because on her drink, there's some lip prints on it. I did the same thing. She talking about something. These are not my lips because they are too small. My lips ain't that small. So Heather then starts it off talking about how amazing they look. The waiters are bringing out their first dish. They're dressed up like I stated. And Heather asked if anybody's checked in on back home and whatnot. Bronwyn states she checked in on Todd and Gwen, and they weren't exactly jazzed about what I had to say. So Heather ends up asking if she told Todd about the farting and making out. And she was like, yeah, I did. Like, why should I be ashamed to say it? I'm not the one that made it up. I said, made it up. How do you know that's not true? The reason why she's so mad, I feel like she knows that it is true. Like, honestly. But Heather asked what happened. And Bronwyn said Todd doesn't understand why he's always a punchline or why anybody's partner is at all in this group. So Bronwyn then states too, Todd and Gwen should be off limits and it's something that Lisa can't commit to doing. Lisa states, as of today, I'll never bring them up in any capacity, and I'm very sorry that I hurt your feelings and I hurt their feelings. She owned up to it. She apologized. Do I believe what Lisa stated? No. Do I believe that Lisa is not going to bring them up again? No. But Bronwyn says okay in the scene, but Bronwyn pretty much echoed the same sentiments I just stated. She's like, I feel like it's rude when somebody's talking to you to not acknowledge what they're stating. So I said okay, but these words mean nothing to me. Please, Bronwyn. But Lisa is in her confessional stating like I didn't say it to Angie for her to bring it up to humiliate Bronwyn, because I don't intend to hurt people or humiliate them, because I'm never going for humiliation. I'll defend myself. I don't try to go for the jugular. I can if you open the door. I'll walk through. I said, Lisa, y'all remember that hot mic moment that she had about Meredith when she went off talking about their family? That hot mic moment was so funny. The way she just went off, and it was coming off the tongue. That is a moment. That is a moment in reality TV that I'll never forget. And I was cracking up laughing. It was so mean, but so funny. But Lisa says, I'm genuinely sorry to Bronwyn if she's hurt or embarrassed. Mary gives Lisa her props because she gave an actual apology. Does she mean it? I personally don't believe it, but she gave it, so shit. But the waiter brings out some more dishes, and Brittany ends up getting sick. She ends up getting sick, throwing up off the side of the boat, but she comes back and sits back down. Whitney asks if she's okay, and she's like, I just got a little seasick. So the waiter comes in with some shots now. Brittany goes to take a shot, and Meredith's reaction was mine. I said, you just threw up, and then you're going to take some shots when you possibly could still throw up again. So Meredith's face, the way she was looking at her had me cracking up. This is where Meredith took me out. This is where she took me out. The rest of this, she took me out. But Meredith is looking at her asking, why are you drinking tequila when you just threw up? Same question I had. Brittany says to feel better. I said, that's a problem. That's a problem. You're sick and you're drinking liquor to feel better? Okay. Alcoholic. Let's keep it real. But Heather says, give her a break. I said, I guess you were alcoholic too, and you think that's cool too. But Brittany then asked Meredith, why is it her business? Like, why is it your business? Why do you care? I said, because you're going to end up throwing up again. But Meredith says, I mean, does anybody at this table think that drinking tequila while you just threw up is a good idea? I said, good question, Meredith, because I'm thinking the same thing. But Whitney says, I think it's her business. Her and Heather, of course, are in alignment with Brittany because they like to drink too. Let's keep it real. Meredith says, I mean, it's not my business, but I would say this to anybody. I would say it to my daughter. I would say it to anybody. It's not because I care. Like, I don't care. But Brittany says, you know what? I'm concerned about something that I saw on TikTok as she's sitting there drinking her wine. She just drank tequila. Now she's drinking wine. I said, Brittany. So somebody asked, what? Like, what did you see? Brittany says it's about sets indiscretions. I said, did y'all not just talk about how partners should be off limits? But here you go. So they say, what were they stating? Like, what are you saying? She says Seth having a mistress. They show a flashback to 3 hours ago. Guess who's sitting there with Brittany? Whitney. Like I told y'all, she the main one that always got information. She always buy the tea. So she ain't off the hook either. Heather and Whitney, they be the first two that I be looking at when it comes to like shit being leaked, because they always buy it. But Meredith, she states that he doesn't have a mistress. We're in a monogamous marriage, and because your boyfriend breaks up with you every time he wants to sleep with somebody else, that's your problem, not mine. I said, uh-oh. Get her. Meredith is now drunk, clearly, because the words starting to slur. I said, here we go. We about to get a soap opera moment. She goes, you're a liar, malicious, despicable person. I'm not interested in you interfering with my relationship because you're jealous. You can't hold a man. That's the reason why you in my business, because you can't keep a man. Meredith is like, basically, I'm married. Regardless of if it's infidelity at all, she still got her husband. Britani ain't got one. She can't keep the one that she's sitting here obsessing over. So Britani says, I mean, it's all over TikTok. I saw it. Meredith says, I mean, I haven't seen it, nor do I care. Whitney says, I've seen it because Britani shared it. Whitney, no one cares. Like, Whitney is literally, shout out to the Brooke Ashley. Whitney is definitely the Ashley Darby of this season. Like, please. Britani, she then states, I get it if you don't want to share. And she's stating that, just trying to, like, you could tell she's trying to rile Meredith up. And she did. Meredith got triggered. She takes that axe out of her head because she got an axe in her head. Takes that axe and she said, keep her away from me. Keep her away from me. And she throws it in her dramatic fashion, saying that Britani needs to stay away from her. But Britani then says, so now you going to throw something at me like you broke glass on me the last night? Meredith says, no, you tried to throw it at me and I put my hand out. The way Meredith last week, the way she put that thing out and did not get hit by none of that water or whatever the fuck was in that glass, she got a force field. Like, she need to be in the Fantastic Four. Like, Meredith, she got some superpowers. But Meredith says in her confessionals, I ain't talked about half the shit I could be talking about when it comes to Britani. I know so much about her. She better focus on her own miserable life because she is a miserable bitch. The way she is as a mother, she ain't lying. But Captain Jason is out there bringing them dessert. And Meredith and Britani, they still going back and forth. And Heather's sitting over there flirting with Jason. But Jason then asks how the dessert is. And I don't know if this was strategic editing, but Meredith says gross, just like her talking to Britani. I said, Meredith is a trip. This was Meredith's episode. I enjoyed it. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Thumbs up the video if you haven't already. Get in the comments. Share the video. Hype the video if you haven't already. And I'll see y'all next week. Peace.